The extrude feature is arguably one of the most used features in Inventor. It's probably going to be the feature that you use the most during the creation of the different models that you do. I'm going to start out with my origin on the XZ plane. I'm going to make a sketch. And I want to make a square over here that's not right over the center, but that is away from it a little bit. So I'm going to grab my rectangle tool. And I'm going to draw a square, and while I'm in the middle of drawing it, I'm going to input the dimensions. So I'm going to put 0.5 and then hit tab to go to the next dimension and do 0.5 again, hit enter. So now I've got a 0.5 by 0.5 square. I'm also going to dimension how far away this is from the center here. So I'm going to make this 0.5 away. And I'm also going to make it 0.5 0.25 away from here, just so that it's all centered. So it's a 0.5 by 0.5 square, it's 0.5 away from the center, and it's 0.25 away in this direction so that it's evenly distributed. I'll finish the sketch and go to the isometric view. Now when we go to extrude, there are a lot of different things that we can choose within this dialog box right here. One of the things that we can do, oh, and by the way, if it's closed, make sure that you just open it up by hitting this black arrow. Right now, by default, it says distance, and the distance that it's extruding right now is 1 inch, and that's just the default. I can change this 2 inches, 0.5 inches, if I wanted to make a perfect cube. So you can do a couple of different things with this. I'm going to keep it at 1. If I do direction 1, it's going to go up, because this is the profile and it's going to go in this direction. If I choose direction 2, then it's going to go below the surface. And so here's my original profile, it's extruding down. I can also choose symmetric. With symmetric, it's going to go 1 inch. This is my profile, but it's going to split it between the two sides. So it's going to put 0.5 this way and 0.5 this way. If I did 2 inches, for example, it's going to go 1 inch in this direction and 1 inch in this direction. So that's symmetrical. And change that back to 1. For asymmetric, if I choose this, I can dictate which way I want it to go in one direction and which way I want it to go in the other. So in this direction, direction 1, it's going a distance of 1. Let's say I wanted it to go 0.75. It's going to lower a little bit, and let's say I wanted this one to go to 1.25. So it's going to extrude all the way down. And so this is if you want to split it between this horizon where you drew it into 2 directions. So those are the 4 different directions that you can go. I'm going to go back to direction 1, and I'm going to change this back to 1 inch again, and I'm going to hit OK. OK. The next thing I'm going to do is make another sketch on the XZ plane. And I want to make another square, but on the opposite side. So I'm going to draw, and if you want to lock on to this so that you don't have to measure everything, if I go to project geometry, I can select this square, and now on my new sketch I've got these yellow lines that I can lock onto. So I'll grab my rectangle tool again. Now I can get a dotted line to lock on. I can also dimension how far away it is from the origin point like I did before, but I'm just going to do it this way. And go down until it locks on again. I'm going to make this 0.5. So now I've got a 0.5 by 0.5 square, and I'm going to make sure that I'm 0.5 away from the center. Alright, finish sketch. And I'm going to extrude this guy as well. 1 inch. Alright. Very good. Now, I'm going to make a third sketch, and I'm going to do it on the YZ plane, the one that intersects these two. And I'm going to hit F7 so I can see through this material. Now I can see the actual sketch area that I'm going to draw on. With my circle tool, I'm going to draw a circle, but first I'm going to project the geometry of this one more time. Hit my circle tool. Now I can lock on to both the middle of this and the middle of where the rectangle is. So I'm basically locking onto the middle of both of these. And you can ensure that it's in the middle by measuring. And in fact, let's go ahead and do that. Go to my circle. I'm going to make my circle 0.25. And I'm going to make the dimension from the side 0.5, so it's right in the middle. And I'm going to make the dimension from this side 0.25, so that it's right in the middle. Finish your sketch. Now I've got a circle in between these two rectangles. Now there's one thing I want to show you about how to extend this in different ways. So if I go to my extrude, and right now I have two profiles I can choose from. I can either extrude this, which would extrude the entire box without the circle, and I cancel that, or I can extrude just the circle, which is what I want to do. Okay, right now the circle is going 1 inch distance, but I can change this. I've already shown you all these, but I can change the distance to say 2 next. What this is going to do is it's going to extrude this until it runs into the next object. So if you want your extrusion to go until it touches the next object, then you can do that by choosing 2 next. Now if I wanted to touch this object, all I have to do is do direction 2, and now it's going to go until it touches the other object. So you don't have to guess how far away this is. We know how far away it is because it's a simple measurement that we did. It's 0.5 away. But we might not have remembered that because we may have a lot of different extrusions or features that we've done, and we don't want to have to go through and measure how far away this is. Another thing that we can do is 2, and this is if we want to manually choose. So I could manually choose this face and it'll go to that face, just the same as doing it the other way, or I can go to 2 and choose the other face. I can also go to 2 and choose this back face, and now it's extruding all the way through my object. Now let's say that I wanted to, instead of making this solidly go all the way through, I wanted to cut it. Well, I could cut it if I want to, and so now I've got a hole in my object that goes all the way through. If I go between, I can choose this face and this face, and then I've got my extrusion extending out in both directions. However, I still have it on cut. I want to go to join, and now I've got material going across like so. And if I wanted to do all, this is going to go through the entire object automatically, no matter what. So if there's material anywhere in this direction, like let's say that I had a piece of material way out here, this is going to go all the way through everything that it sees in its path. So just keep that in mind. And it's going in this direction. If I wanted to change directions, I could go in that direction. If I wanted it to go in both directions, then I could choose symmetric, and then I've got it going in both directions. I'm going to choose cut so that I have a hole right here, and I'm going to hit OK. Alright, now I'm going to show you 2 more things that have to do with extrusion. I'm going to make a sketch on this face, so I'll click on this face and choose New Sketch. And what I'm going to do is grab my circle tool, and I'm going to draw a circle that comes out until it locks on to the bottom here. And I'm going to grab my line tool, and I'm going to lock on to where the line and the circle intersect, and I'm going to make a square. And lock it on here as well. Now I'm going to trim the circle lines off till I just have a rectangle with an arced bottom here. So basically this is what you should be left with. an arced bottom, these corners here, flat on the top. Hit Finish Sketch. Now, if I go to Extrude, and let's say I choose this, I'm going to choose Intersect as my extrusion, which is this third guy right down here, Intersect. What Intersect does is whatever this shape goes through, it's going to include everything outside of it it's going to get rid of. And so basically, if I only wanted that much, I'm only going to be left with this little sliver. All of this stuff that's kind of hollowed out right here is no longer going to exist. And so if I want to keep just these two and have both of them have arced bottoms, then I can just pull this all the way through so that it includes both of them. I can also put in a specific number. So let's say I do 2 inches, which is the distance from here to here. Now if I hit OK, I've got an arced bottom on both of these, and the Intersect extrusion took this profile and basically kept it going all the way through. The last thing that I'm going to do is a tapered extrusion. So I'm going to make a sketch on this top right here. And the sketch has already been made for me, but if it wasn't, then I would draw another square over the top of here. But yours should be set to default to make a sketch here already because I got these yellow lines. So I'll hit Finish Sketch, and I'm going to go to Extrude, and here's my extrusion. I want it to go up 0.5, and I'm going to go to this tab called More. My taper is basically, if you use a positive taper, then the extrusion is going to bend outward like a pyramid going out, and if you use a negative, it's going to go in as a point. So let's just do 5. So with a 5 extrusion, 5 taper I mean, you can see that it's bowing out. The bigger the number you use, the more it's going to bow out. So I'm going to go back to my taper, and I'm going to do 20, for example. Now you see that it's going out at a much higher rate, or it's tapering with a larger number or a larger angle. The thing about the taper is that once you go away from it and click back, it's going to go back to shape automatically, so you have to make sure you choose More again. I'm going to choose 45. So here's a 45-degree taper, and it's basically talking about the angle here. Okay? I'm going to keep this back at 20. Okay? And I'm going to show you the opposite over here. So I'm going to make a sketch on this one. Go to Finish Sketch. Hit Extrude. It's going up 0.5. I'm going to go to More, and we'll do a negative taper this time. So I'm going to do a negative 10, for example. Notice that it's going in at an angle so that it's basically doing the opposite of what it's doing over here. Go back to More, and we'll do negative 20. See how it's slowly going in? And so you can play with these settings and just see which one is going to bring you to a point if that's what you want. Negative 30 works, and so I'm going to keep it at negative 30. So now we have used every type of extrusion that there is. Go ahead and save this file as extrusion.